We're doing a challenge run. We're going to be doing a completely free-to-play run. What does that mean? We're not going to be using any of the paid egos that you would get from the Battle Pass, and we're going to be using only 2-star characters. The only exception is R. Heathcliff, because in this dungeon, you can bring one friend unit. I would recommend you either bring R. Heathcliff or W. Core Don Quixote.
Future me, yeah, no, just bring W to or Don Quixote. Heathcliff's a little bit too weak for longer boss battles. That's it.
In this case, I chose to go with R. Heathcliff since I have G Corp Otis, which with her passive can give me a lovely, lovely +2 haste if I have 2 of these bad boys here.
As I'm doing this run, I find out this passive is not working. RIP.
So hopefully we can give haste to our boy Heathcliff and do tons of damage. We're going to be using Shi Ishmael for our main damage and Honglu here, and this is just the best team that I have currently. So let's jump into it and see if we can clear this in under 120.
The goal at the beginning for the first 2 floors was to get Ishmael to 50% HP, as well as clear these in a relatively short time frame, but this is how it kind of turned out.
Let's hope we can get this to run under 120. If we can get it under 20, wait a second. Did we just lose our clash? What is happening? Oh, quick suppression. Oh, we lost. Are you serious? Are you serious? Excuse me?
Needless to say, that was basically our luck for the rest of the run. We run this wave multiple times, and we make it so that eventually I get a turn count that I'm happy with, and we move over to the Mexicans. Same thing, do as much damage as possible in the lowest time frame, and also get Shi Ishmael to 50% HP. Once we get there, though, our first hurdle was the goddamn frog. So the issue with the frog was that I had slotted in Gregor base form, and his passive actually heals the lowest unit for 5 HP every turn. What I didn't realize was that Shi Ishmael wasn't taking enough damage to go below 50% consistently. So what ended up happening was by the time we got to the Froggo, Shi Ishmael had healed herself out of her 50% threshold with Gregor's passive. So knowing that, I decide that I'm going to have to reset, take Gregor off my team, and switch him into his other variants. Since we're not using the 3-star variant, we only have Liu Gregor, and unfortunately my Liu Gregor is pretty weak. He's only up tied 2, but we had to get rid of the heal passive because it was taking Ishmael out of her 50% threshold, and we jump right back into it. Once we get back to the frog, this time around, Shi Ishmael is way below 50% HP, so she has her damage passives up, and the strategy for the frog as usual is bust up one eye and keep obliterating it. Obviously, we have a few issues where we lose too much sanity and some of our units go ego corroded, and they do things to the team, but you know, nothing we can't surpass. However, throughout the rest of the run, you can tell that by using these characters, it feels really bad. Using R. Heathcliff was starting to get to the point where he was starting to fall off in terms of damage, because without skill cycling, he can't get to his suppression quickly, so that realistically means he can only do suppression either once or twice maximum in a fight. So it made using R. Heathcliff really bad for the later fights. Not only that though, the damage with Shi Ishmael doesn't feel as good. Her only skill that does solid damage is her skill 2. Compared to say a unit like Honglu where his skill 2 and skill 3 can do good damage, Ishmael only has skill 2 that does good damage, and it's very, very conditional as well, which is very, very sad. Throughout most of the run, I struggled with all the typical strategies. The wolf. Fighting the wolf was difficult because normally what you would do is you would avoid everything and hit the teleport, break it, stagger it so the boss doesn't get an attack, and then break it again. And after you fully break it, you would throw all your damage in with R. Heathcliff, W. Don Quixote. You would just full send into the wolf, and usually you can get a turn 3, turn 4 wolf, typically. However, that wasn't really the case for me. The wolf fight for me took longer than expected, above average. And by the time we eventually get to the other fights, I could already kind of tell that not taking Don Quixote was definitely a mistake.
During the robot fight, there is a strategy where you only use Don Quixote and you could relatively get yourself a 7-8 turn clear on average. But that's with skill cycling. Without skill cycling, I could only imagine how much longer that would take. For my run, I did not do as good. Because I didn't have the damage readily available, I just stuck it out and fought it down as is. It took me basically way too much time. I would say 13 turns was too much, but at this point I could already tell the damage wasn't there. I was probably going to have to save up some time in the Headless Icatus fight. With the Headless Icatus fight, because I could AoE the Headless Icatus down, I was actually able to get this down really quickly. Basically by turn 3, Headless Icatus down. AoE the heck out of it, but my first true stumbling block was when I got to these 3 bad boys. Oh my goodness. The 10% heal with freaking their adjusted shell with their instinct gain was insane. It took me so much turns to get this down. Even with optimal damage, I still took way too long. 14 turns. At this point, I didn't care. I didn't have W Don Quixote, so screw it. I'm just gonna barrel through. We got over to these bad boys, the police boys. The police boys were something else. It took me a few tries, but eventually I was able to get a turn count that I was kind of okay with. I think what ended up happening was that I basically got it to 13, 14 turns, and then I called it, because I just knew without Don Quixote, I wasn't able to burst out the enemy. And even with Heathcliff, by the time he gets to wave 3, he was already basically out of bullets, so completely useless for me. So fast forward, we get over to these bad boys, the freaking Snake and Wolf, and this was where the run was basically essentially dead. Because I was using our Heathcliff, I didn't have enough slash damage units, and my units were just not really able to do the damage I needed. And after doing this one attempt, I could already tell that this run was dead. So I had to full reset and reconsider my team comp and throw Don Quixote in. So we put Don Quixote back on the team, and we also put Gregor on the team. As you can tell from the last fight, we were almost able to eke out the win, but unfortunately, we just didn't have enough HP to beat the boss. The boss poisoned us down, and there's nothing else we could do. If I had kept Gregor on the team, probably would have been able to beat that fight. So we put him back in the team, and then we jump right back into it. This time around, the run goes a lot smoother. The frog, faster. The wolf, faster. The robot, faster. It's a little bit faster. It's actually not a lot comparatively, but it was good enough for me. I was on pace to get to my 120 sub run, but it was looking very sus. So by the time we get through to Cromer, I was sitting on a very sketchy number. I decided that we're gonna barrel through. At this point on, I had already been streaming for many hours. You can't tell, but this is the accumulation of 10 hours worth of footage. It was getting to be quite the slog. Once we get to the final boss, this was how it all went down. And I'll fast forward it so you guys can see how it plays out, but I did not have a lot of turns left, and I had to burst out Ada without the use of our Heathcliff and Don Quixote combo, and this is just kind of how the rest of the run played out.
So, is it possible to clear railway extractions in under 120 turns with only a friend unit and 2 star characters? The answer is yes, you can, just not in this run. In this run, if I had optimized it a little bit better and shaved off 5 turns, it was very doable, but at this point, I was like, nah, screw this, I'm done. I will say that it is possible, but the amount of RNG you need is definitely on the higher end, since not being able to use R Heathcliff in combination with W Don Quixote really slows down the amount of damage that you can pump out. Being able to cheese out a boss very quickly with R Heathcliff and W Don Quixote is so useful in this railway extraction. With that being said though, I couldn't get it under 120, but I'm sure if someone really tried to, they really could. As usual though, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know down in the comment section down below. Do you guys think it's possible to clear it in under 120? I think it is. It's just that I didn't want to really go through the whole slog of this again and min-max, but it is definitely doable. I stream on Twitch Monday to Friday in the evening PST, and I have a Discord community where we talk about everything Limbus as well as other gacha games. As usual, my name is John Panio, and I'll see you guys until next time. Bye for now.